Hi everyone and welcome to my channel. My name is Carly and you're watching Sewscape. Today I'm going to show you everything that I made in May from Burda Style Magazine. So I made 4 things this month that I'm going to show you. 1 thing was from the June 2022 issue and 3 things were from the May 2023 issue, this last issue that just passed. So the first thing I ended up making this month was a cute covered button skirt. So let me just find what this number was. So skirt 104 from the June issue of Burda Style, June 2022, so last year's issue. So this skirt had cover buttons down the front, it had a tie front, and I lined my version. It's not lined in the magazine, but the fabric that I was using was pretty sheer. So the fabric that I made this out of was a thrifted duvet cover, and I thrifted this a couple of years ago. I actually have made a dress out of the fabric. I've made a little crop top out of the fabric, and now I've made this skirt. So I really love how it turned out. I would say it needs like a little bit more taken out of the waist. It's still a little bit big. I made a size 42 grading up to a 44. But I find the amount of ease, more current Burda style patterns have less ease added in them, I find. But in previous years, I feel like there was more ease added. So depending on like what I eat in the day or, you know, time of the month, it seems to be a little bit big sometimes or a little, not small, but I didn't want to make it too small for it not to fit kind of at the end of the day. So I'm gonna elasticate the back of the skirt just so that I feel a little bit more secure, especially if I'm gonna be wearing it with little crop tops or stuff like that. I don't want it sliding down and showing like too much of my stomach. So yeah, I made a size 42. I love how this turned out. I really like the covered buttons. I feel like they got lost a little bit in the print of the fabric, but I didn't do the best job with my button loop, so it's kind of good that the fabric was a bit busy, that you can't see every mistake that I made. But I will for sure make this again. I feel like on the long version of the skirt in the issue, I'll put a picture up here somewhere. I love the stripe pattern. I really love everything about the skirt. I'd like to totally recreate this version of the skirt. So the next thing I made was dress 102 from the May issue of Burda Style 2023. So this dress is really cute. I had this fabric in my stash for quite a while. This is a thrifted tablecloth, and I didn't know what I wanted to make with this fabric, but I knew I had to incorporate that border print. So I just barely squeezed this project out of this tablecloth. I think it was just over a meter's worth of fabric, and because I kind of wanted to match up the pattern, I didn't have that much to work with. So I had to simplify this pattern quite a bit. I cut the straps, instead of making them roughly, I just cut the straps flat, and I did it like a bias fold kind of method where the fabric was too thick and like kind of linen-y to pull inside out. It was just unraveling all the fabric. So I just folded it like bias tape, like the ends into the middle, and then I folded that again and then top stitched that down. And it made great sleeves or straps. And then I had to omit the waistband. I could have probably squeezed it out, but I didn't feel like it was necessary, and I didn't like the way that the pattern would look if I had to do that, like with the placement of the flowers and the baskets and stuff like that on the fabric. So I made it like a very much like baby doll top where it's just the bodice and then a skirt, and it was just a square skirt. I think maybe slight angles on the side, and it was just gathered up really nicely and all attached. And then in the pattern, you're supposed to bias bind the top and kind of do like a contrasty bias binding, and I didn't do that because I didn't have enough fabric to make the bias binding. So I just used a leftover old sheet that I had, and I lined the bodice with the sheet, and that gave a little extra coverage because this is a dress that I probably will not be wearing a bra with. It just, you know, doubles up, especially with a loosely woven linen. We don't want anything showing. So yeah, this dress has already got a ton of wear. I can't wait to wear it all summer. Because of the like weight of the fabric, it's a bit heavy because it is kind of that linen tablecloth material, but I find because the holes in the fabric are so big, it's nice and airy. And because of the color, like it's very light and it's a natural fiber, so it breathes. So I think this is a great make. I can't wait to wear it, and hopefully it doesn't get too stained. I'm a bit of a mess when I wear white, but I believe in myself. I love it so much, I'll carry a Tide pen with me. So after that, the next thing I sewed was dress 121 of the May 2023 issue of Burda Style. I was questioning when I was making my plans video if I was going to be making this as a dress or a top. And I had this lovely, same thing, thrifted tablecloth that I had had in my stash for a long time. And I'm like, what am I gonna do with this? So some people commented, hey, if you can squeeze a dress out of it, squeeze a dress out of it. And I did. I can't believe it. I was able to like just squeeze it out. There was barely anything left. I was able even to cut a couple thick straps to go with the dress, but I didn't even need them. I just wanted to add the straps to make it a little bit more work appropriate, like if I was wearing a bra or whatever. But honestly, with the boning channels in the top, like you do not need to wear a bra with this top. The boning is so amazing in it. And yeah, so the alterations that I made to this pattern were I shortened it just a little bit, just by a couple inches, I believe, maybe 2 or 3 inches. And it's still nice and long, like I love it. And then when I sewed the hem of this dress, I added horsehair braid. So that was actually the most expensive part of this entire project. I think I thrifted this vintage tablecloth for $2 and the horsehair braid cost me $15, and the thread I already had. So I made the bow to go on the front of this dress and I basted it on, I stitched it on, and I just didn't love it. So when I sewed the top together, I didn't match my seams up perfectly. So it was really bugging me that the princess seam with the pattern wasn't matching. And as I was sewing it, I'm like, it's okay if the stripes don't match because it's gonna be covered with a bow, so that is fine. I really didn't have that much fabric, so I couldn't make every stripe perfect. But then after I made it and didn't like the bow, I went in and I unpicked that princess seam, and it wasn't cut to be straight, but I just kind of eased the princess seam over that. So it gave a little bit of distortion, but it's fine. It looks great. This dress, I get tons of compliments on it. I wore it on Mother's Day and went out to the market in my new dress, and it was really lovely. I'm so glad I made it, and it feels like the fit is next to perfect. The way that they have constructed that strapless bodice is amazing, and I will for sure be using that pattern going forward. I'm going to be making a dress to go to my brother's wedding in September, and I'm going to use this bodice pattern and just make a couple adjustments. I want to make the neckline a sweetheart neckline, and then maybe just in the pattern instructions, it has you put elastic in, and I left that out because I was putting the straps on. So I'm going to put a little bit of elastic just to really secure things. So if I'm dancing all night, it'll be perfect. And so yeah, stay tuned. I'm going to be filming the whole process of that, and I'm going to be dyeing some thrifted tulle that I picked up. So that'll be a really fun video. And this dress is a great starting point going forward to make that dress. So I made a size 42 in this, and I made no alterations, I don't think, apart from making it 4 inches, maybe 3 inches shorter than it was intended to be. The only thing I would change is I would add pockets. And then the last thing I made this month is actually the dress that I am wearing now, and it is dress 123 from the May 2023 issue of Burda Style. So this dress, they had a sew along video. It was the featured sewing lesson, so it had detailed instructions. There were a lot of pieces to this dress, and the insides are beautiful. It's lined perfectly. Everything is really nice inside and out. There's a lot of like time and detail put into this dress. And I saved it as my last project of the month, but really it should have been my first project of the month, just so I gave it its full attention. So as I was sewing this dress, I went and picked up the piping for all the seams. So every seam is piped. So I bought some white satin piping, and it sat in my stash for, you know, the whole month until I go to make it at the end of the month, and I pull it out to go sew my seams, and I realize I didn't buy piping. I bought so much flat single fold bias tape, and I cannot even believe it. So the fabric store that is closest to me is an hour away, so there was no way, you know, I was waiting another week to kind of have that time to drive down to the fabric store and buy the piping. So I just had to sew it up without the piping, and I think it turned out really good. I love the pattern of this dress. This was a thrifted viscose. I thought, oh my gosh, it has polyester content to it, but once I pressed it, I'm like, oh, it is buttery, it's amazing, very floaty, and it breathes really great. So even though it's a really long dress, I can see myself wearing this like quite a bit through the summer to work and stuff, because I feel like it still breathes even though it's a long dark dress. So I made a size 42. I didn't add any of the piping, and the waistband that I sewed, they have you, I only made half of it because I didn't have that much fabric left. I had enough if I really wanted to, but honestly, the waistband really gets lost in this dress, so I see myself probably wearing a different belt with it, just so that, you know, it breaks up the pattern quite a bit, because it's pretty busy. And I find with the dress, the sleeves, the ruffle, and then if you add a tie of the same fabric, it just seemed a little bit too much. But I still have the tie, and I can still tie it, they just don't hang down super low. So in the instructions, they have you put all these snaps kind of down the front. And instead of that, what I did is I sewed a ribbon on the inside that crosses over, and I sewed another ribbon into that side seam so I can tie that on the inside. And then on the outside, instead of putting snaps, I put a hook and eye. So that just is really secure with a really nice big heavy duty hook and eye. And yeah, there's really good coverage on the neckline. I don't feel like I'm spilling out of it. The way that the collar band, I don't know if it's a collar band, but at first I thought it was a facing that flipped inward. But the neckline is really nice the way that it is, and it's all interfaced, so I don't see it like stretching out or anything like that. So yeah, I think maybe it's a little bit long. I don't wear super long dresses that often, but it's dramatic, and I love being dramatic, so that is good. I wonder if I'll maybe cut it shorter and get more wear out of it, but I don't think so. I think it looks pretty good. And that is my month of dresses. Almost everything was a dress, but one skirt. I feel a little bit like funny that I sewed all dresses this month, but hey, that's what made me happy. And someone in the comments mentioned, you know, if you're happy wearing dresses, other people will be happy around you. So I felt that, and I feel really nice and springy and summery and ready for the weather to warm up and get outside. In saying that, my videos might get a little sporadic in the summer just because of, you know, going outside and being with the kids, and I might be sewing a little bit less. But I'll for sure make sure to kind of do either a monthly plans, monthly makes video, maybe even combined. And so yeah, I will show you guys what I'm making through the summer, but it will probably be less than what I'm making year round. So I hope you guys have the most wonderful rest of your day. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to see more videos like this, please hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.